Hi everybody, Matt Lawton here. This is the Astrological Winds channel, and we're going to take a look at the astrological weather forecast through the week of January 18th through the 24th. And we're right in the midst of the Jupiter-Uranus square right now, and the acceleration of change is just really as I suspected and went over in the monthly for January, has just really taken off, and hearing from a lot of people about how things are just so at an intense pitch level for everyone, and not to be unexpected, like I said, in a year where we're going to have very quick changes that create vacuums for other things to fill in quickly, and they may change again very quickly. So that's really going to be the background energy of the year. And as I said in the monthly, really this month was just like, it's like a rocket ship taking off and accelerating into all these changes. So, and I've really noticed since our last full moon, not the new moon from last week, but the full moon in Cancer, that seemed to really trigger some really intense emotional issues that are, just really bringing a lot of change in people's personal lives too. And a lot of that stuff just won't be able to be handled in a really normal way. So it's been like really stressful for people to deal with that energy of not feeling like they're getting, like watching their old structures fall apart, and feeling unsupported in their basic needs. I think a lot of that stuff is really what's triggering a lot of the personal distress that people are having. And then, of course, with things going on in the world, like the COVID, driving behind that, and no one really being able to escape the situations that are occurring because of that. Anyway, this week there's a lot more energy, a lot going on again. Not quite as dense as last week, but some really, it's an inauguration week, so a lot of the energy that is around this week is going to be like imprinted into the new leadership of the United States, and what goes on, with that administration, and what in the next year all the way through the whole 4 years. So so there's 3 or 4 main energies that I'd like to talk about this week. And the first thing is that the sun is going to go into Aquarius on Tuesday, tomorrow, joining Mercury there. And, just a time when you'll notice our focus will more likely go into like improving the systems that we have in our life. And also, once again, really pushes the position of finding equality or justice, however you may define that, and people being like really stubborn about their positions, what they feel that is, what they feel justice is, what they feel equality is, what they feel improvements can be. That people will really, they're working for the better of the good of all, but in the sense, like, as I've said this before with Aquarius, a lot of times the individual's rights gets run over in the quest for equality and justice for all. And that's part of the reason why the sun is in detriment in Aquarius too, because it's the sign that cares the least for people and their emotions on an individual basis and how they react to the changes that, Aquarius wants to bring in. And so we'll see probably a lot of use of, once again, Aquarius has a lot to do with technology and science. So probably a lot of new information on those fronts, including things like the vaccines and things like that. I think a really good example already of the Aquarian energy kicking in is that I saw the president-elect Biden already has 10 executive orders that he's ready to put into effect in his first week that counteract many of the things that the administration before and what they were going for. So this is what I mean about, the stubbornness of Aquarius, that goat kind of energy that Aquarius has about being really strong about what they believe in and really don't care how you feel so much about it because they feel like, the changes that they want to bring are the righteous ones, that these are the things that are best for all. So, but definitely like a nonconformist energy, revolutionary, wants things to be pushing forward, future oriented, that kind of thing. So will get us into that zone on a personal level too. Let me think. And then so that's Tuesday. And then Wednesday through Friday, we have two different energies at play. Excuse me. And the first one has to do with Mars triggering Uranus and Jupiter. The Jupiter-Uranus square, which was exact Sunday, is going to be very potent this week. And we may be in for some really big surprises. So Mars is going to conjunct Uranus in Taurus, where Mars is weak and admittedly blocked a lot of times. And at the same time, it's going to square Jupiter, which is really going to inflate the energy of Mars-Uranus conjunction. I think that's the main thing Jupiter's really going to do. I mean, when Mars hits Jupiter and that Mars is square Jupiter, I think the exact square is Thursday. But like I said, these are all acting together, these three, this whole week, very strongly, very acutely this week. And so like when it squares Jupiter, Jupiter just gives Mars like more energy, more push, more like, this exuberant, like kind of like positive, optimistic energy, but it's like rushing in to things. It's impulsive. It may not be very well thought out. So like, it can create messes while it's dealing with what it's dealing with. So that's one part of this, but the real juice of what's going on is this Mars-Uranus conjunction. And that is, if there is an aspect that, means big surprises, big shocks, shocking events, fast-moving things, that is Mars-Uranus. So, it's interesting because, like I said, going back to the fact that the inauguration and all that is this week, that is imprinted into this administration's like energy, and you really have to expect some really shocking things to come out of this, and even ask what could actually even happen. Is there dangers associated with this energy that like for some of the people in the administration on a personal level, especially on a physical level, with Mars being like, the receiver or the catalyst energy of this, has a lot to do with the body. So, it's like the president-elect's health. in question, or just like, is he, what he's going to do going to be so shocking that it's going to be just really hard to deal with. But you know it Mars and Uranus together, like for us, they bring like these strong bursts of energy, like short, strong bursts of energy. It's like a sprinter, like 100-yard dash or something, like where you're just giving it all in this like one moment. So it's like, so these sudden bursts of energy can be very explosive. They can become a conflagration really quickly, and just get out of control, because there's not a lot of thought going into them, now, now both, it is in Taurus, so that there is this like fixed energy there that will slow some of it down. But Mars is like really, a lot of it I think is going to be just like driven by this festering kind of energy of Mars feeling stuck for so long. It was retrograde in Aries for so long last year, and now goes into Taurus, the sign that it's least comfortable in, and which really continues to inhibit its normal energy. And when Mars is inhibited, it gets angry. And so the fixed energy is really just this struggle of Mars for so long to try to, to be able to act like we normally act, which we just have not been able to do in the current conditions of the world. There really isn't anyone who's getting out of this situation and being able to just, act the way they want to act. So I think that, there's a lot of this is driven, a lot of this like possibly explosive active energy that could come out of individuals or come through society, because Jupiter is involved. So just like I said, once again, just even Biden, making already these proclamations about how he's going to fight, give orders to fight all this other stuff. Is very quick, it's very sudden, it's coming through the law, Jupiter, very quickly, so there's a lot of that kind of stuff, a lot of like, okay, I'm just gonna, react to this right now, and really, push something without thinking it completely out, and then therefore it can bring some really surprises, can bring some upsets, can bring, for people, shake people up because of the quickness of the change, and it can be like natural disasters too. Uranus is the planet that rules natural disasters, and Mars can be very much a trigger to that kind of energy. So, and it can be like very quick natural disasters that, a lot of people could get caught up in and get into the thing. But it brings on a very rebellious attitude. On a certain level, it's feeding that Aquarius sun, Aquarius time too, because it is a very revolutionary, rebellious, individualistic kind of energy. But it can also get us into our own accidents or issues or upsets from just not being well thought out enough. And if anything, Jupiter is just going to feed that. Jupiter in Aquarius is just going to bring that Aquarian energy in to really push the change quickly. So once again, even the stuff that happened at the Capitol with the people storming the Capitol is another example of how this energy can come out. So this energy, extremely potent this week, and Wednesday through Friday will be the top of the potency with it. So don't be surprised if there are surprising events, both in your life personally and in the world during those days. Now, if you'll remember, during the monthly, I mentioned that Saturn was semi-square Neptune this month, and it was only a one-hit transit because Saturn's just gone into Aquarius and it's not going to get back to Neptune But I talked about it in a monthly, and in a general sense, what that really means is a lot of us just being really frustrated from seeing our ideals be denied on the shores of reality. So that's a very frustrating background energy that once again can feed a lot of the festering anger that people may feel about things not changing the way they want them to be. So that's active this week in the sense that the exact hit is this week, but it is something that will be in orb at least another month or so. So that's we're gonna be feeling that one, and it's gonna be feeding a lot of the energy in the background. But the other thing I wanted to talk about for Wednesday through Friday, the other interesting energy, very interesting mix here, is that Neptune is conjunct Ceres, which is that motherly archetype asteroid. And at the same time, they're both squaring the nodal axis. So this is like really interesting because, a conjunction can go either way. And I mean, any aspect really can go either way as far as whether we feel like it's positive or negative. That's really a personal judgment we make on the energy and how it affects us. But when there's a conjunction, it's definitely one of these ones where you can feel really positive, can feel really negative, or you can feel both about the same type of energy. In some parts of your life, the energy that it's bringing in is very good or beneficial for you, and in other parts it's not. So when Neptune conjunct Ceres, Neptune is bringing in this desire and to bring to love others unconditionally, and coming from a very spiritual place, and to offer support and nurturing to people, and being very psychic or empathic about the needs of others, what their emotional needs are. So highly sensitive on that level. Even can give inspiration, but if taken to an extreme, it can feed just the negative part of that Saturn Neptune semi-square, where you see that these ideals of unconditional love and desire and empathy for nurturing others just can't reach the level that is necessary. So you can fall also, if taken from a negative perspective, into a victimhood or martyr kind of role with this, where you just feel, and then when it's squaring the nodes too, so there's a lot of people feeling highly stressed out right now about not being supported, not getting the things they need. The series is it's the home, the food, the hearth, the nurturing, the family energy that we all kind of go back to, and we know is there, and we go out into the world from. And that stuff right now is feeling really challenged by life itself and what's going on, the nodes, and just that karma and dharma that we're all having with the nodes going through the Gemini Sagittarius axis right now, is therefore squaring the Aries and Libra zones. And here we have the Pisces and Virgo zones. So here we have Neptune and Ceres and Pisces getting squared by this right now. So we have this really stressful time of many of us feeling not supported, not getting what we need, whatever that nurturing is, physically, emotionally, not getting those things. And it can have a lot of people very, very stressed out. So yet at the same time, people, feeling that need to want to give that to one another, and coming from this very spiritual space. So yeah, just a really interesting conjunction to deal with, and not an easy time. And the last thing I wanted to mention was a little bit of action on Saturday. Saturday is the annual conjunction of the Sun to Saturn on Saturn's day, Saturday, so that's kind of, and usually with the Sun and Saturn together, it's like, it's, once again, it's a conjunction. So it can go either way depending on how you're feeling about it. But what it really does is it puts us into a frame of mind of being very responsible and dutiful, of living up to our obligations, even if that means sacrificing our amusements, our fun, our pleasure for the time being. So like being willing to kind of do that, and it's a good time to get your stuff together as far as orderly. So this weekend would be a great time to do some project around your house where you need clean out the garage or the attic or the basement or whatever, clean the yard or whatever, things that just getting that sense of well, I need to deal with this, and just having a good attitude about it, and doing those things. But emotionally, we're going to definitely be a little bit cool and feel a little bit isolated inside. So that can be a little bit of a struggle at times, but it is a really good day to just really basically work on some project, work on some stuff that needs to be done in the practical world, because it's just a time where we have the right attitude about that kind of stuff. Now, what's kind of interesting, because it's Saturn that the Sun is hitting, and we know that Saturn is semi-square Neptune, that means that the Sun will also be semi-square Neptune that day. And what's interesting too is Venus is sextile Neptune that day too. And Venus sextile Neptune is a beautiful transit. I mean, it's a transit of just seeing life through this very romantic, soft way, and having things appeal to our ideals, especially relationships with Venus, just having some really beautiful times in relationships. It can be romantic times. It can be, just inspiring times, getting inspiration from them. It can be out in nature or in some kind of beautiful surroundings. So that's really, really a sweet aspect that kind of almost ties back into the positive part of Neptune conjunct series. So that's real nice. But the Sun Neptune, obviously, said, seeing how our ideals once again aren't really matching up with reality, which can be a struggle for all of us. So yeah, we are continuing our season of changes this week, and it's just the surprises in store are just going to be definitely in our face for a while, and the acceleration of change is just going to be very rapid, and a lot of people are feeling unmoored because of that, and we just need to find ways to support one another through that, and continue to discern what is correct information, what is not correct information, which is so difficult to do these days. But Gemini North Node definitely requiring that, and then just working on our healing on an individual level. That Chiron in Aries asking us to move forward with that. But as far as the changes that are going to occur this year in the structures of society, nothing we can do individually is going to change that. The only thing we can do is take care of our own attitudes, our own, discipline, our own thoughts, be articulate with our words and well thought out, and take the actions that are necessary and practical in these times. So we definitely have a lot of duties in front of us to try to maintain this sense of being moored or anchored in a time of great change. So we can only support one another, which is the highest thing we can do. Make the connections, share the information, and do what we can for one another through a time of rapid changes. All right, this is Matt Lawton. This is the Astrological Winds channel. It is available on Buzzsprout. I think it's available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Just look up Astrological Winds channel. You will find it there. On YouTube, you can become a follower. I do think you have to open an account, turn on your notifications, then become a follower. You will be notified. This is a free service, although you're welcome to send me a donation. I have a Zelly. You can send it there. But really the best thing you can do for me is to pass the blog on to anyone you know who would be interested in it. And my email is matthuE823@gmail.com. And I'm available for all types of readings, natal charts, which is your birth chart, predictive readings, looking for the up next year and how that affects your chart, relationship charts and work, seeing how two people's charts come together, children's charts, looking at the main events of your child's first 20 years, fixed star readings, which really looks at your soul purpose on a very deep level, elections, if you need the best time for an event calculated, and horary questions, if you have a emotionally driven question that you're just having a hard time getting an answer to. You can do a chart for that too. So all kinds of services. Also, the classes are up and available on Dropbox right now, and the first 5 classes are up, including going through the 12 signs of the zodiac in classes 3 to 5. So if you want to be a student, you take them sequentially. They're $25 a class. If you're a high school or college student, you have an ID, you can show me, it's $5 off. Or you can take any individual class just as a lecture individually if you're not interested in being a student and you just want to learn a little bit more about certain parts of astrology. The 6th class will be on the cross of matter and the rising signs. So we're starting to get into some good stuff. And that one will probably be up within a week or two. I don't have anyone quite ready for it yet, so I haven't been on a rush with it. But do have 2-3 students, I think, slowly working away there. And if I got enough and we could ever find the right time of the week, maybe we could even set up live classes. And the classes will be going into a video format soon too. Right now they're just audio MP3 files that I can have you access on Dropbox once you pay the fee. All right, this is Matt Lawton. This is the Astrological Winds channel. Smooth, just try to stay in that disciplined frame of mind, not allow these changing times to sweep you away and cause you to take actions that are not well thought out until you're clear about what is going on and where you're headed. So, okay, until next week, I'm signing off. Next week we get ready for Mercury retrograde. So any of those last things you need to tidy up or deal with before Mercury goes retrograde, do it now. Get it going. We're going into the shadow already. All right. See you then.